Hey there blues fans, this is John with the Blues Guitar Institute, and here's your Tuesday Blues. In this lesson we're going to walk through a very important guitar technique, the hammer-on. Now it's really fun to think about hammer-ons. You know, they're definitely used in a lot of cool licks and solos and things like that, but I challenge you to think about how have you broken down your hammer-ons? How have you made certain that you're getting good clean notes both from the plucked note and the hammered note, and how well are your hammer-ons in time? This is something that I look inward too. You know, I mean, I take a look at my playing and make sure that I've got these things down. And so the following lesson is really a collection of exercises to help you get good clean notes both from the picked and from the hammered note, and to make sure that you can follow in musical time very well with that hammered on. So let's get started. We'll fret up an E major chord like that, and we're going to work with some hammer-ons that take place from the open third string to the first fret of the third string. Alright, before we do the exercise, I really want you to listen at just this very simple two-note deal. Notice that that second note was loud and proud. It sounded very pronounced, and you could hear it almost as if I had picked it like this. That's what you're going for in a good hammer-on. So as we move through the exercises, make sure that you can get that good clean note out of the hammered note. That's really part of the challenge of these things, but it's something that I really don't want you to overlook in your playing. Alright, so the other part of good hammer-on technique is making sure that you can have your hammer fall in musical time. So what I want to do is let's fire up a metronome. We're not going to do it in the video, but when you're practicing, I strongly recommend you fire up a metronome to a comfortable tempo. Get your sixth string plucked out with your thumb for the bass. 1, 2, 3, 4. Count out the quarter notes just like that. Just count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then for beat 1, we're going to pinch with the bass, we're going to pinch the open third string. Remember, we've got this E fretted here, so pick up your index finger and pick the open third string. 1. Then for 2, we're going to hammer on, so we're going to pluck the bass string and hammer on with the second string. We're not going to pluck that, the third string. We're not going to pluck that third string at all though during this part. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So notice that my hammer-on really occurred every time I said 2. When I say 2, that's when we want to bring the hammer down and just behind the first fret and have that second note sound. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can almost think of it as your index finger on your fret hand is the one plucking the note, but you're not going to pluck it. You're going to come down and hold it in position here. Alright, so that's one exercise I really want you to work on, and you can follow the tab here and move the beat around. So maybe you'll start on beat 2 and hammer on to beat 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Something like that. And then of course you can move through the different beats there. And I really want you to do that so that you can develop your ability to play a good clean hammer-on no matter what beat you're on. Okay? The next thing that I want you to do is take a look at another exercise. We're going to still hang out on this E chord. We're going to keep everything on the fretboard as simple and same as we can to just hyper focus in on our technique here. But this part is more about timing and making sure that you can control the timing of a good hammer-on. So what we're going to do now is we're going to divide the measure not by quarter notes but by eighth notes. So we're going to count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So all in, those are 8 notes. But we're still going to keep the 1, 2, 3, 4 so we know where those strong beats, the strong down beats are, okay? So the ands are in between those main beats. So listen when I just play the bass and count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 notice my thumb played 4 times and I was counting the ands and they fell in between. All right, so what we want to do with this hammer-on is have it fall in between the bass notes. All right, so what that'll sound like is this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So the hammer-on, this is the same hammer-on. It happened from the 1 to the and of 1, so it's a little quicker. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you can also move that through the beat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But notice that we still had that good clean sound of the hammered note. That's something that you want to keep with you throughout, you know, not just in this lesson, but every time you play a hammer-on, you really want to hear that second note ringing just nice and true. All right, so now we've got the in-between, you know, hammer-on done, so that we're hammering on to that 8th note. Certainly very useful, and I really want you to work through the exercises here in this lesson. But now I want to shift your thinking just a little bit. This is more about musical timing again. But there are certainly hammer-ons that happen before the beat. So this is really hammering on the beat. You know, we started each hammer-on the beat, even the quarter note. 1 and 1, 2, like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the 8th note hammer-on, we started on the beat as well. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? But what if we take this thing and shift it back so that we're doing kind of a pre-hammer-on, and we let the plucked note fall before the beat and the hammered note fall on the beat. I call this kind of a pre-hammer-on. So we got our on beat, and this is a pre-beat, if you will. And it sounds a little bit like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So we're hammering on to this note and getting in position for beat 1. And this works really well in a country finger picking thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going to hear a lot of these hammers move around throughout the beats. But this pre-hammer is kind of cool to think about. And you can also do the pre-hammer with the 8th note hammer-on. So you can go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right, I hope you found this useful. This set of exercises is really important to me because playing good blues just comes with hammer-ons. I mean, it's just it's in just about every time I pick up the guitar, I'm going to play something with a hammer-on in it. I'm not real sure that I ever pick up the guitar and don't play a hammer-on. They're super useful, super bluesy sounding, and it's something that you should really just strip down and take a listen at when you're playing. Take a listen to these notes. Make sure that you're playing that open string well and that hammered note, or even, you know, for a fretted hammer-on, the same thing applies. First note sounds clear, second note sounds clear. And then I want you to develop the ability to shorten or lengthen the timing on the hammer-on. That'll just give you some real finesse and some ability to control the music coming out of your guitar, and that's what it's all about, right? So definitely grab the tab for this because it's the practice guide, the set of exercises that are really going to help you hone in on good hammer-on technique. And listen, if you think you've already got good hammer-on technique, this is a technique that's always worth a revisit. So why don't you fire up the tab, fire up a metronome, and really just work through it. Something good to just every now and then tear down everything and focus. That's what I'm doing right now, so that's why I wanted to share this lesson with you. So again, be sure to grab the tab and practice this thing up, and I'll see you next week. Thanks.